With over 40 years of combat experience and countless upgrades, the M1 Abrams is now one of the world's most advanced and powerful main battle tanks. Its unique design has brought several stunning concepts and innovations to the table. However, the reason this tank is called one of the best hunter-killers in the world, it's an original concept, part of its design since the 1980s. Hello and welcome to Warfare Today. It may sound weird, but the US used to not have so many cutting-edge military tech as it currently does. But in the 60s and 70s, this was quite common, especially when it came to tanks. While the Soviets already had the solid T-64 and were just a few years from introducing the amazing T-72, a true innovation for the time, America was still operating the basic M60 pattern. And since no one likes to fall behind in a race, especially an arms race, the MBT program was then initiated, aiming to replace the good old pattern with much more advanced equipment capable of matching the Red Army's growing arsenal. The MBT-70 was a joint program between West Germany and the United States to develop a new main battle tank. It was intended to be the most advanced tank in the world, a state-of-the-art combination of the best features both countries had to offer, creating a unique American and German tank design, able to overcome anything the Soviets might have under development. The MBT-70 was a very ambitious project, which proved to be its Achilles heel. The program was plagued by cost overruns, technical difficulties, and disagreements between both parts. In the end, the program was canceled in 1970, and the MBT-70 was never put into production. Since the joint effort failed, Congress decided to take all money left from that project and invest it in a 100% national design. The companies chosen to compete for the contract were General Motors and the former Chrysler Defense, now part of General Dynamics Land Systems. Prototypes were delivered in 1976 by Chrysler and GM, both armed with the M68E1 gun, a licensed build of the 105mm Royal Ordnance L7. They entered head-to-head testing at Aberdeen Proving Ground, and at the end of the day, the test showed that the GM design was generally superior to Chrysler's, offering better armor protection and better fire control and turret stabilization systems. And while power packs of both designs proved to have issues, Chrysler's gas turbine engine really stood out, but surely not as intended. It proved to be a true fuel burner, going just 3.8 miles per gallon, while GM's new variable compression diesel design was much more cost-effective. But of course the turbine also had positive features, such as reduced size and weight, the reduced noise, and the possibility to burn different kinds of fuel. And talking about fuel, your like and subscription are the fuel that keeps this channel going. So support us by hitting that like button and subscribing for more videos like this one. Thank you very much. By spring 1976, the decision to choose the GM design was largely complete. In addition to offering better overall performance, there were concerns about Chrysler's engine both from a reliability and fuel consumption standpoint. The GM program was also slightly cheaper, $208 million compared to $221 million for Chrysler. In July 1976, Lieutenant Colonel George Mormon prepared a stack of letters informing Congress of the decision to move ahead with the GM design. All that was required was the final sign-off by the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld. The hammer had already been struck, or at least it was what they thought. Secretary of the Army, Martin Hoffman, and a group of high-ranking generals decided for GM, but Deputy Defense Secretary Bill Clements and Director of Defense Research and Engineering Malcolm Curry had a different opinion and demanded the turbine be selected instead. Soon after, GM was asked to present a new design that included a turbine engine. However, Assistant Secretary for Research and Development Ed Miller noted that, quote, "It became increasingly clear that the only solution which would be acceptable to Clements and Curry was the turbine. It was a political decision that was reached, and for all intents and purposes that decision gave the award to Chrysler since they were the only contractor with a gas turbine." It's important to note that the decision wasn't solely based on the turbine engine. Chrysler had already proven their worth with the M60, which had been highly profitable for the company. In contrast, GM made only about 1% of its income from military sales, compared to 5% for Chrysler. Also, GM only submitted their bid after a special plea from the Pentagon, which may have influenced the decision. In the end, the Defense Department awarded a $20 billion development contract to Chrysler on November 1976. The M1 Abrams production started in 1979 and received many updates during the years. The following specs are from the latest model used in the Gulf War in 1991. Since it has a manual reloading system, the MBT needs a crew of 4, a commander, a driver, a gunner, and a loader. The M1A1 measures nearly 33 feet long, 12 feet wide, and 8 feet tall, and weighs in at a massive 70 short tons, or 63 metric tons. Main weapon is Rainmetal 120mm M256 smoothbore gun. It also features a 50 caliber M2 HB machine gun. Powering this monster is a Honeywell AGT 1500 gas turbine engine, which delivers sweet 1500 horsepower to propel the tank at speeds of up to 42 miles per hour on paved roads and up to 30 miles mph off-road. Has a range of 265 miles on internal fuel and up to 300 miles with auxiliary fuel tanks. It has day and night fire on the move capability, which is provided by a laser rangefinder, thermal imaging night sight, optical day sight, and a digital ballistic computer. Both the fuel and ammunition are compartmented to enhance survivability. The hull and turret are protected by advanced armor similar to the Chobham armor developed by the British. It consists of a number of layers of different materials, such as ceramics, metals, and plastics, that are bonded together to create a strong and resilient composite. Armor outer layer is made of depleted uranium, which is designed to provide protection against kinetic energy penetrators such as armor-piercing bullets and tank shells. When required, the Abrams may be fitted with reactive armor to thwart armor-defeating munitions. It also has protection against chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. The main ammo is allocated in a protected chamber in the rear of the turret and does not allow the loader to take more than a single projectile at a time. The Abrams remained untested in combat until the Persian Gulf War in 1991 during Operation Desert Storm. A total of 1,848 M1A1s were deployed to Saudi Arabia to participate in the liberation of Kuwait. The M1A1 was superior to Iraq's Soviet-era T-55 and T-62 tanks, as well as T-72 versions imported from the Soviet Union and Poland. Polish officials stated that no license-produced T-72 tanks were finished before destruction of the Taji tank plant. The T-72s, like most Soviet export designs, lacked night vision system, though they did have some night-fighting tanks with older active infrared systems or floodlights. Very few M1 tanks were hit by the enemy and none were destroyed as a direct result of enemy fire, none of which resulted in any fatalities. 3 Abrams were left behind the enemy lines after a swift attack on Tawlil airfield on February 27. One of them was hit by enemy fire, the other 2 were embedded in mud. The tanks were destroyed by U.S. forces in order to prevent any trophy claim by the Iraqi army. A total of 23 M1A1s were damaged or destroyed during the war. Of the 9 Abrams tanks destroyed, 7 were hit by friendly fire, and as I said, 2 intentionally destroyed to prevent capture by the Iraqi army. Some others took minor combat damage, with little effect on their operational readiness. The Gulf War surely was a true test for the M1 Abrams, and after analyzing all the data gathered from this huge combat experience, version M1A2 was developed. This new improved version received the first SEP, or System Enhancement Package, which brought updated systems and more advanced computers, along with better armor. The M1A2 also saw a lot of action. It was deployed at the Iraqi War in 2003, Afghanistan, Yemen Civil War in 2015, and for the desperation of the Russians in the war in Ukraine in 2023. The latest version of the MBT is the M1A2 SEP V3, or System Enhancement Package version 3. The first unit was delivered in October 2017 and brought the following updates. A new and improved version of the communication and data link systems created a network of tanks on the battlefield. The Force 21 Battle Command Brigade and below is a Linux-based communication platform designed for commanders to track friendly and hostile forces on the battlefield. It increases the commander's situational awareness by gathering information near real-time based on vehicle locations. Thus, each MBT knows exactly what the others are seeing and doing, even if separated by a few miles. A vehicle can acquire a target and send all the details to another M1, allowing ambushes and coordinated attacks, all this using high-speed encrypted links. The commander has access to all the data captured by the MBT sensors through a multifunction LCD display. It shows other M1s and the targets marked by them, very similar to current video games. Another innovation is the auxiliary power unit, which allows the electronic systems to work and the turret to move, even with the engine off. One of the strengths of the M1 is that it was designed to be highly modular and upgradable, allowing different parts of the tank to be replaced and updated to meet specific mission needs and changes on the battlefield. The line replaceable module system is a series of modules designed to be easily removed and replaced in the field without the need to disassemble large sections of the tank. These modules include a wide variety of components such as the engine, transmissions, suspension systems, weapon systems, and electronics. Due to the extensive combat experience gained in Iraq and Afghanistan, the SEP V3 has additional protection against improvised explosive devices, which are basically large explosive charges placed on roads that hit the vehicle from below or from the side. The day and night systems were also refurbished, receiving a new set of cameras, sensors, and monitors that greatly improved the quality of the data received by the commander. The engine is an upgraded version of the Honeywell AGT 1500, which maintains the 1500 horsepower of the previous versions, but with more efficient fuel consumption. The turbine engine works with a range of fuels, including ordinary gasoline, diesel fuel, and jet fuel. The main gun is the same 120mm smoothbore M256A1, based on German Rheinmetall design, which also provides the excellent Leopard 2's gun. But it received a new fire control system that, according to the manufacturer, increases effectiveness against moving targets by 10 to 15%. And, as is common in Western main battle tanks, the cannon is manually loaded, requiring a fourth crew member dedicated to this task. There is much discussion about the efficiency of manual loading versus automatic. An obvious disadvantage is a lower fire rate, but a major advantage is that the absence of moving parts ensures that the main gun will continue to fire even after a significant impact. As secondary armament, the MBT has an M250 caliber heavy machine gun and a M240 caliber 7.62, both effective against air and ground targets. The tank has 6 smoke grenade launchers on each side of the turret, which can be used to create a smoke screen to conceal the tank's movement or to mark a target for friendly forces. As expected, the armor information is classified, but it is speculated that it is an improved version of the powerful Chabam armor. The outer layer can receive explosive reactive armor, as well as the Trophy Active Protection System, a highly efficient technology developed by the Israeli Rafael Advanced Defense Systems, designed to detect and neutralize incoming threats, such as anti-tank missiles and RPGs, before they can strike the MBT. The Trophy system uses advanced sensors and algorithms to detect incoming threats and then fires a shotgun-like blast of metal pellets to destroy the threat at a safe distance from the tank. This new version of the M1 Abrams is certainly an incredible machine with high performance. However, we cannot forget that without brave and capable soldiers, it is just an expensive car full of gadgets. Besides, the M1 is one of the many war assets which helped to write America's victorious history. Another one is this spy plane built to fly at enormous speeds and outmaneuver all missiles operated at that time, and it is, until today, the fastest jet plane in the world since the 1960s. Click this link to learn more about this amazing war story.